Shalom, and welcome to Parsha Highlights and Insights. This is Rabbi Fischer. This week's Parsha is called Yitro. Yitro, the father-in-law of Moshe, who features in the first part of the Parsha. I think we could divide the Parsha basically into two parts. In the uh, first part of the Parsha, Yitro sends a message to Moshe that he is coming to join Bnei Israel and that he is bringing Moshe's family, Moshe's wife Tzipporah, and their two sons Gershom and Eliezer. Moshe greets Yitro with a great deal of respect and honor and tells Yitro all that has happened. Yitro is aware of some of the aspects of what has happened, but Moshe fills in all the details, and his reaction is joy. He blesses Hashem, and it seems very clear that he accepts Hashem as the one and only God. And then they have a festive meal to celebrate this reunion. Uh, the next part of the visit of Yitro that is in our Parsha is when Yitro gives Moshe some very valuable advice. He observes how Moshe judges the people all day long, and when he asks Moshe what exactly is happening, so Moshe explains that people come to me to seek an answer from Hashem. They may be asking a question, how to proceed in the mitzvot, in halacha. And Yitro points out that this is going to go very hard on Moshe and the people if Moshe has to be the only one to answer. Therefore, Yitro's advice is, first of all, teach the people so that they have a general idea of what the halacha is. Then appoint judges at different levels to help to decide various cases, and then take the biggest cases for yourself. Moshe accepts Yitro's advice with one significant adaptation, one significant change, and that is Moshe will not take the biggest cases, but rather the most difficult cases. It doesn't matter, for example, whether a case involves $1 million or $1. If the halacha is more difficult in the $1 case, then Moshe might be the one to take that. But the idea is that the lower judges, the judges in the lower courts, will be able to handle a good deal of the cases. And then we are told that Yitro returns to Midian, and that would seem to have happened later on, but the Torah tells us about it right now. Second part of the parasha is about the revelation, giving of the Torah at Har Sinai. First, we're told that Bnei Israel journey to Sinai. They enter Sinai on the first day of the third month. That's the month that we call Sivan. And they are encamped facing the mountain. And Moshe then proceeds to ascend and descend, conveying messages between Hashem and the people. Hashem says to tell the people, first and foremost, that his goal is for them to be a kingdom of priests and a holy people. And Moshe tells this to the elders. The people's response to this is that we will do all that Hashem has said. Moshe delivers the people's response to Hashem, and then Hashem has a response for the sake of the people. He says to Moshe that as a result of all of this, people are going to listen to you, they will believe you, then tell them also to prepare for the revelation that is going to come, where Hashem's presence is going to be manifest on Har Sinai, and warn the people that during the time that Hashem's presence is on the mountain, no one is permitted to go, not even animals are permitted to go up on the mountain, and Moshe instructs the people accordingly. On the third day of their preparation, there is lightning, there's thunder, there's the sound of the shofar getting increasingly louder, and the whole mountain quakes. Moshe ascends to convey the people's response to Hashem, and Hashem says to Moshe that he should descend once again and warn them once again uh, about the prohibition of going on to the mountain. And it's at this point that the Torah tells us Hashem spoke to Bnei Israel uh, all of the Aseret HaDibrot. The Aseret HaDibrot, the Decalogue, Ten Commandments is really not a good translation. The word for commandment is mitzvah, and it's not called the 10 mitzvot. It's called the 10 uh, dibrot or devarim, which are statements or pronouncements. When you look closely, five of them govern life between man and Hashem, and the others between man and man. If you were to look for mitzvot, there are 14 mitzvot in the Aseret HaDibrot. And what's critical is not that these are more important than all of the other mitzvot. That's not an appropriate way to look at it, but rather each one of these is an archetype for all the 613 mitzvot. As a matter of fact, we can regard all 613 mitzvot as being subsumed under one of the Aseret HaDibrot. The people's reaction to the revelation is one of fear. They're hearing God's voice, and they don't know if they can survive. And so they say to Moshe, from here on in, instead of us hearing Hashem's voice, we want you to hear Hashem, have Hashem speak to you, and then you will convey to us what Hashem has taught, and we will fulfill it. Moshe assures them that they should not fear. At the very end of the parasha, we have some other mitzvot which are connected to this beginning of teaching the mitzvot to Israel. One is not to make gods, not to make images of gold or silver. And the other has to do with how to construct the altar, the Mizbeach. It must be of earth, and that means it has to be connected, attached to the earth. If you use stones, they have to be stones in their actual natural state. Do not cut them. And also, when going up to the altar, do not go up to the altar using stairs, because that will inevitably result in a bit of exposure of the part of the body more than is appropriate for being on the altar. So at the end of the parasha, Hashem says, tell Bnei Israel, you have seen that I speak to you straight from the heavens. And then we have these mitzvot that I've just mentioned. Don't make gods of silver or gold. Make an altar of earth, sacrifice on it your various types of sacrifices, burnt offering, and so on. And then, a very important statement, in every place where I cause my name to be mentioned, I will come to you and bless you. In Hebrew, b'chol hamakom asher azkir et shemi, avo elecha uverachticha. Then, continuing, if you make an altar out of stones, they have to be not of hewn stones, but rather in their natural state. And the reason for that is that in order to dress the stones, it's necessary to use a metal tool, and metal is something that destroys, especially like a sword. And the Mizbeach, the altar, is supposed to be something that brings life, not destruction. And also, don't ascend my altar using steps, so as not to expose your nakedness. Now, the Seforno, or Ovadia Seforno, has a way of reading all of these verses to show the continuity. First of all, he points out You have seen that I speak to you from the heavens. Um, and that's because Hashem may be enthroned on high, but he is aware of what goes on here on earth as well as in heaven. And this is an important point because it means that Hashem uh, is not disconnected. He is very involved and aware of what happens here on earth, and that's an important point in order to proceed to our next point, says the Sephorno, because uh, since you have experienced firsthand your own senses, your own eyes, your own ears, etc., that it's possible to come close to God without any intermediaries. You can pray to Hashem directly. So therefore, don't try to make any of these intermediaries as a way of being close with me, and that's a reference to the gods of silver and of gold. Uh, this reminds us, at least one way of understanding the sin of the golden calf that we're going to learn about in a couple of weeks, and that is that the golden calf was not meant, according to this reading, as a substitute for God per se, but as a substitute for the intermediary, making it possible to connect with God. And it's possible that that's the way they understood Moshe's role. Uh, so we're being said, hey, you need to be aware that you can connect with Hashem, you can pray to Hashem, you can serve Hashem directly. No intermediaries are necessary. Uh, Continuing, you also don't need to build very fancy temples of silver and gold and precious stones in order to come close to me. All that you really need to do is erect an altar. So, according to the Sephorno, this is important to emphasize, before the sin of the golden calf, there wasn't going to be any need for a mishkan, for a sanctuary, um, because hamakom asher azkirat et shemi, any place where I will bring my name, meaning where I will make it suitable to serve Hashem, um, you will be able to worship Hashem, and I will come to you and bless you. So you don't need any intermediaries. You don't need any artificial means, silver, gold, fancy sanctuaries. I can come to you anywhere and bless you. All you need to do is mention my name in prayer. So according to the Sephorno, this is the scenario, this is a situation before the sin of the golden calf shows that they're not ready for this level just yet. Um, don't don't dress the stones. Keep the altar very simple, um, and that's all that is necessary in order to worship Hashem. To sacrifice to Hashem and to pray. It can be very simple, very natural, and homespun. However, let's think about the other extreme. Don't get so familiar that with Hashem's connection that you forget that there are certain standards for your proper behavior. So you may not have to build uh, fancy structures, but you still have to be careful not to be disrespectful. Don't be so, we might say, so palsy with Hashem that you think that anything that you do is acceptable. No, you still have to remember that there is that distance. So don't be disrespectful when you approach the top of my altar. Uh, that is the way that the Sephorno understands the whole flow of all of these verses, and it really goes to the heart of the Sephorno's approach to the building of the Mishkan. He says that before the sin of the golden calf, all that would have been necessary would be to build a very simple altar for uh, for offering sacrifices, and that would have been enough. I thank you all for joining me in this exploration of Parashat Yitro. This has been Rabbi Abraham Fischer for Parasha Highlights and Insights, saying Shalom.